The Deep Space Monitoring Station sat quietly in the Nevada desert, its massive dishes pointed toward the stars. Inside the climate-controlled command center, Commander James Miller stared at his screen, his coffee growing cold beside him. Something wasn't right with the data he was seeing. For the third time this week, the station's advanced sensors had picked up alien vessels at the edges of our solar system. But instead of continuing on their original trajectories, each ship had altered its course in a way that made no logical sense. They were burning extra fuel, taking longer routes, all to maintain a precise distance from Earth. "Tom, come take a look at this," James called to his colleague, Technical Officer Tom Roberts. "I'm seeing another deviation pattern." Tom walked over, his boots clicking against the polished floor. He leaned over James's shoulder, squinting at the complex array of numbers and trajectory plots on the screen. "That's the fourth ship this month. Same pattern." "Exactly the same," James confirmed, pulling up multiple tracking data side by side. "They get within about 40 astronomical units of Earth, then suddenly change course. It's like they're avoiding us." The room hummed with the sound of powerful computers processing data from various deep space monitoring arrays. Through the reinforced windows, they could see the massive satellite dishes moving slowly, tracking distant objects across the star-filled desert sky. "Have you reported this to command?" Tom asked, pulling up a chair. "Sent the initial data yesterday. They're as confused as we are." James rubbed his tired eyes. "Think about it. We haven't even made official first contact yet. As far as we know, no alien civilization has acknowledged our existence. But these ships, they know we're here, and they're staying away." Tom scratched his head. "Maybe they're following some kind of protocol. Prime directive stuff." "That's what I thought at first," James replied, pulling up more data. "But look at these energy readings. These ships are burning massive amounts of fuel to avoid our solar system. This isn't protocol. This is fear." The next few hours were spent analyzing the patterns. James and Tom mapped out dozens of ship trajectories from the past 6 months, creating a clear picture of deliberate avoidance. Each vessel, regardless of its origin or direction, made the same types of course corrections when approaching Earth's solar system. "It's like we're in some kind of bubble," Tom observed, looking at the mapped routes. "A bubble that nobody wants to enter." James nodded slowly. "The question is, why? What do they know about us that we don't?" Their discussion was interrupted by a sharp beeping from one of the monitoring stations. A new contact had appeared at the edge of their detection range. James quickly pulled up the data. "Here we go again," he muttered, watching the unknown vessel's trajectory. Sure enough, as the ship approached the apparent boundary, it began to alter its course. "Send this one straight to command," Tom suggested. "Live data might help convince them something weird is going on." James typed quickly, formatting the data packet for transmission. As he worked, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were standing on the edge of something massive. Humanity had always wondered if we were alone in the universe. Now they had proof they weren't. But that proof came with the disturbing revelation that advanced civilizations were actively avoiding Earth. "What if they're not avoiding us?" Tom suddenly said, breaking the silence. "What if they're containing us?" The thought sent a chill down James's spine. He looked up at the star-filled sky visible through the window, wondering what secrets it held about humanity's true place in the cosmos. Whatever the reason for this strange behavior, one thing was becoming clear. Earth's isolation in the galaxy wasn't an accident. It was deliberate. As another ship appeared on their sensors and began its predictable avoidance maneuver, James couldn't help but wonder, what was it about Earth that made advanced civilizations treat it like a quarantine zone? The answer, he suspected, would change humanity's understanding of itself forever. Dr. Anna White stood in the control room of the International Space Station's new research module, her eyes fixed on the strange object floating outside. The ancient satellite debris they'd captured wasn't like anything they'd seen before. It was covered in markings that clearly weren't human-made, and its age dated back thousands of years. "Are you seeing this?" She spoke into her comm link to her research partner, Dr. Mark Thompson, who was outside in a spacewalk suit, examining the object up close. "It's incredible," Mark's voice crackled through the radio. "These markings, they're definitely not natural formations. And look at the material composition. Nothing like this exists in our databases." The debris had been discovered during a routine space junk cleanup mission. Unlike the typical abandoned rocket parts and broken satellites that cluttered Earth's orbit, this object had immediately caught their attention due to its unusual composition and the clearly artificial markings covering its surface. "Getting closer readings now," Mark reported, carefully maneuvering around the object. "There's some kind of writing system here. Multiple systems, actually. It's like a warning sign with translations." Anna quickly activated the high-resolution cameras, capturing every detail of the mysterious artifact. "Can you describe what you're seeing?" "It's arranged in concentric circles," Mark explained, his suited hand pointing to different sections. "Each ring seems to contain the same message in a different writing system. Some look almost geometric, others more like flowing script. None of them match any known human writing system." The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific community. Within hours, the ISS was receiving constant communications from space agencies around the world. The first detailed images of the markings were sent to Earth's top linguists and xenorchaeologists for analysis. 3 days later, Anna sat in the station's communication room, listening to the preliminary findings from the international research team. "We've managed to identify patterns in the symbols," Dr. Rebecca Hart, the lead linguist, explained via video link. "These aren't just random markings. They're definitely a form of communication, and they follow logical linguistic structures. But here's the truly fascinating part. We've found similar symbols in ancient artifacts from multiple Earth cultures." Anna leaned forward, her interest piqued. "What do you mean?" "Some of these symbols bear striking resemblances to prehistoric cave paintings and ancient religious symbols found across different continents. It's as if these alien messages somehow influenced early human writing systems." The implications were staggering. As more data came in, a disturbing picture began to emerge. The satellite debris wasn't just a random piece of alien technology. It was part of an ancient warning system placed in Earth's orbit. Working around the clock, the research team began to decode the first messages. They were simple but chilling. "Danger. Dark world. Do not appr. Oiche. Look at this," Anna said to Mark one evening, pointing to new analysis results. "The material dating puts this object at roughly 10,000 years old. That means advanced civilizations were watching Earth during our Stone Age." Mark nodded, studying the data. "And they were warning others to stay away. But why? What were they afraid of?" Their questions multiplied as they discovered more debris pieces, each bearing similar warnings in different alien languages. Some referred to Earth as the Forbidden Sphere or the Dark World. One particularly clear message simply stated, "Death DWEL's here." As Anna floated in the observation module that night, watching Earth rotate slowly below, she couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and unease. They had finally found proof of alien life, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of a welcome message or an invitation to join a galactic community, they had found ancient warning signs telling others to stay away from Earth. What happened here? She wondered aloud, watching the blue planet spin beneath her. What did they see that made them so afraid of us? The answer, she suspected, lay not in the stars above, but in the very nature of Earth itself, and the mysterious properties that had shaped humanity's evolution. The United Nations Special Investigation Task Force headquarters buzzed with activity. Located in a renovated warehouse in Geneva, the facility had become the central hub for humanity's greatest mystery. General Robert Parker stood before a wall of screens, each displaying different pieces of translated alien text recovered from orbit. "What we're seeing here is unprecedented," he addressed the assembled team of international experts. The warning markers we found aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a coordinated effort by multiple alien civilizations to quarantine Earth. Dr. Lisa Reed, the task force's lead researcher, stepped forward with her tablet. We've identified at least 7 distinct alien languages in the orbital debris. Each one tells the same story. Earth has been deliberately isolated for thousands of years. The screens behind them shifted to show various translations. Some were brief and direct. Avoid the dark world. Others were more detailed, containing what appeared to be coordinates and specific warnings about Earth's dangerous properties. But here's where it gets interesting. Lisa continued, pulling up new data. We found references to Earth in what appears to be fragments of alien historical records. They call us the cradle of the void, or the world that should not be. The team had spent months piecing together the story. Each new discovery painted a clearer picture of Earth's unique position in the galaxy. The alien civilizations hadn't just been avoiding Earth, they had been studying it from a safe distance for millennia. Look at this passage. Lisa highlighted one of the translated texts. It describes Earth as the forbidden experiment of nature. They seem both fascinated and terrified by something about our planet's development. General Parker moved closer to the screens, and we still don't know what exactly they're afraid of. We have theories. Dr. Michael Ross, the team's physicist, joined the discussion. The records mention something about Earth's unusual properties and dangerous evolution patterns. They seem particularly concerned about our planet's core and magnetic field. The room fell silent as new data appeared on the main screen. It was a recently decoded message that painted a disturbing picture. The inhabitants of the dark world evolve in ways that defy the natural order. They grow stronger in conditions that should destroy them. The planet itself breeds creatures that should not exist. It's like they're talking about some kind of cosmic horror story, one of the junior researchers muttered. Except we're the monsters in this story, Lisa replied. Everything we found suggests that something about Earth's fundamental nature is different from other inhabited worlds. Different in a way that terrifies advanced civilizations. General Parker paced the room, considering the implications. So we've been quarantined not because we're dangerous by choice, but because something about our very existence frightens them. Exactly, Lisa confirmed. And look at this. She pulled up another translation. This text suggests that Earth's properties are somehow contagious. They're not just afraid of us. They're afraid of what prolonged exposure to our world might do to them. The research team worked through the night, comparing notes and cross-referencing translations. Each new piece of evidence pointed to the same conclusion. Earth was fundamentally different from other life-bearing worlds in the galaxy. Here's what we know for certain, Lisa summarized as dawn approached. Multiple alien civilizations have known about Earth for thousands of years. They've been actively warning others to stay away. Something about our planet's natural properties terrifies them, and they believe these properties have influenced our evolution in ways they consider unnatural. General Parker stood at the window, watching the sun rise over Geneva. So the question isn't whether aliens exist, he said slowly. The question is what they know about us that we're only beginning to discover about ourselves. The implications were both thrilling and terrifying. Humanity hadn't just been alone in the galaxy, they had been deliberately isolated. And somewhere in Earth's unique properties lay the key to understanding why advanced civilizations treated their homeworld like a cosmic danger zone. As the morning light filled the room, the team returned to their work, knowing they were on the verge of discoveries that would reshape humanity's understanding of their place in the universe. Professor Alan Foster stared at the test results in disbelief. His team at the Global Research Institute had been studying Earth's unique properties for months, but these findings changed everything. He quickly gathered his research team in the main laboratory. Look at these readings, he said, projecting the data onto the main screen. Earth's background radiation levels aren't just high. They're impossibly high for supporting complex life. At least according to everything we thought we knew. Dr. Rachel Turner, the team's evolutionary biologist, leaned forward. But we're not just surviving in these conditions, we're thriving. Our cells have adapted to use this radiation in ways that should be impossible. The laboratory hummed with the sound of specialized equipment. Samples from various Earth species were being tested, each revealing the same extraordinary properties. Humans, animals, even plants, all had evolved remarkable resistance to conditions that, according to the alien warning markers, should have been lethal. Our planet's magnetic field isn't just protecting us, Alan explained, pulling up new diagrams. It's been shaping us. The interaction between Earth's core, our magnetic field, and the natural radiation has created an evolutionary pressure cooker. The team had discovered that Earth's powerful magnetic field, combined with its unusual geological activity, had forced life to develop in ways unique in the galaxy. What other species considered deadly radiation levels were, to Earth life, just another Tuesday. Check this out, called Bill Thompson, their geologist, from his workstation. I've been comparing our planet's tectonic activity to the theoretical models we extracted from the alien data. Earth is literally hundreds of times more geologically active than what they consider normal for a life-bearing world. Rachel pulled up her own findings. And that's not all. Our atmospheric composition, gravity, and even our day-night cycle, everything about Earth is extreme by galactic standards. We evolved in conditions that would kill most alien life instantly. The implications were staggering. Humanity hadn't just adapted to Earth's harsh conditions, they were a product of them. Their very cells had developed mechanisms to thrive in an environment that the rest of the galaxy considered a death zone. Look at our bone density compared to the alien physiological data, Rachel continued. We're built like tanks compared to them. Our muscles, our nervous system, even our digestive tract. We're naturally armored against conditions that they consider extreme. Alain walked to the window, looking out at the busy street below. Ordinary humans going about their day, unaware that their very existence was considered an impossible anomaly by advanced civilizations. We're not what they're afraid of, he said slowly. They're afraid of what we represent. We're living proof that life can not only survive but evolve to thrive in conditions they consider lethal. The team spent hours analyzing the data. Every new discovery painted a clearer picture of why Earth had been quarantined. Their planet wasn't just different, it was dangerous by galactic standards, and its inhabitants had evolved to match. Here's what we know, Alan summarized for the official report. Earth's unique combination of a powerful magnetic field, high background radiation, extreme geological activity, and other factors has created conditions that most alien life cannot survive. We've evolved not just to survive these conditions, but to depend on them. What's lethal to them is normal for us. Rachel added her conclusions. From their perspective, we're basically radiation-proof, pressure-resistant super beings who evolved on a death world. No wonder they stay away. The team worked late into the night, documenting their findings. They had finally understood why Earth was avoided, not because they were hostile, but because they were living proof that life could exist and thrive in conditions that defied galactic norms. Well, Bill said with a slight smile, at least now we know why they call us the Dark World. We're literally their worst nightmare, a planet that breaks all their rules about what life should be. As they prepared their report for the UN task force, they knew this discovery would change humanity's approach to space exploration forever. They weren't just ready for the challenges of space. They were naturally equipped to handle conditions that other species couldn't even imagine surviving. The small farming town of Blue Creek, Montana, never expected to be the site of humanity's first alien encounter. The ship came down on a Tuesday afternoon, trailing smoke and debris, its emergency landing converting Old Man Wilson's cornfield into a makeshift landing strip. Local Sheriff Pete Davis was the first official on scene, his police cruiser kicking up dust as he approached the crash site. The ship wasn't large, maybe the size of a small bus, and its metallic surface rippled with colors that shouldn't exist. "This is Sheriff Davis," he spoke into his radio. "We've got a Well, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Send everyone. Before the military could arrive, the ship's hatch opened with a hiss. 3 figures emerged, their movements jerky and uncertain in Earth's gravity. They wore what appeared to be environmental suits, their forms humanoid but distinctly alien. The aliens froze when they saw Sheriff Davis. Even through their protective gear, their terror was obvious. One of them held up what appeared to be a universal translation device. This cannot be. A mechanical voice emerged from the device. We are on the dark world. The forbidden sphere. Pete raised his hand slowly, showing he was unarmed. Welcome to Earth. Are you folks all right? Looks like you had a rough landing. The aliens huddled together, their suits' monitoring equipment beeping frantically. The radiation levels, the pressure, the gravity. How do you survive here? Listen, Pete said calmly, noting their distress. Help is on the way. We can provide whatever assistance you need. No. The lead alien's translator crackled. You don't understand. This planet, it's quarantined for a reason. We've made a terrible mistake. Military vehicles appeared on the horizon, racing toward the crash site. The aliens became even more agitated, their suits' warning systems blaring. Our ship's emergency protocols brought us here, another alien explained through the translator. It was the nearest planetary body when our drive failed. We never thought, never imagined we'd land on the death world itself. Pete watched as the aliens checked their suit readings again and again, clearly terrified by what they considered normal Earth conditions. Look, he said, I don't know what stories you've heard about us, but we're not going to hurt you. The military arrived, led by Colonel Mary Wilson. To her credit, she quickly assessed the situation and maintained a non-threatening posture. I'm Colonel Wilson, United Earth Defense. We've been hoping to meet your people, though perhaps under better circumstances. The aliens seemed shocked by the calm reception. You're not what we expected, their translator conveyed. Our histories speak of monsters evolved in impossible conditions, yet you appear civilized. We get that a lot, Colonel Wilson smiled. Now how about we get your ship fixed and have a proper conversation? We got a lot of questions about those warning beacons you left in orbit. Over the next few hours, as repair crews worked on the damaged ship, the aliens gradually relaxed. They remained inside their protective suits, but their fear began to mix with curiosity. It's remarkable, one of them commented, watching humans work in what they considered lethal conditions. Your species moves through radiation and pressure that would kill most living things, yet you act like it's nothing. Pete, who had stayed to help manage the scene, shrugged. This is just home to us. Always has been. As the sun set over the cornfield, the aliens began to understand that their species' legends about Earth were both right and wrong. Yes, the planet's conditions were extreme by galactic standards. Yes, its inhabitants had evolved to survive what other species considered impossible. But the monsters they'd feared were just people, living their lives on a world that had made them uniquely tough. Perhaps, their leader said as repairs neared completion, it's time our people reconsidered their view of the dark world. You are not what we thought you were. Colonel Wilson smiled. Just wait until you see what else you got wrong about us. In the newly constructed Interstellar Relations Center in Geneva, Dr. Alan Foster sat across from the alien delegation, still amazed by how differently they experienced Earth's environment. Even through their protective suits, they seemed constantly uncomfortable with conditions humans took for granted. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, Alan said, reviewing his notes. Most intelligent species evolved on worlds with minimal radiation, stable geology, and weaker magnetic fields. The alien representative, whom they called the first speaker, nodded within their environmental suit. What you consider normal would be catastrophic for 99% of known civilizations. Your world is unique. The meeting room was filled with scientists and government officials from around the world, all eager to learn about humanity's place in the galaxy. The aliens had finally agreed to share their complete database about Earth's classification. Show them the comparison. The first speaker instructed their technical officer. A holographic display appeared, showing various planetary conditions across known worlds. This is the average life-bearing world, they explained, pointing to a peaceful-looking planet. Minimal tectonic activity, carefully balanced radiation levels, stable climate. And this, they shifted the display, is Earth. The contrast was shocking. Earth's internal activity, magnetic field strength, and background radiation levels were off the charts compared to normal habitable worlds. What humans considered a peaceful planet was, by galactic standards, a raging hellscape. Your species, the first speaker continued, evolved in conditions that would kill most intelligent life instantly. You breathe oxidizers, drink corrosive compounds, and your bodies actually require radiation exposure to function properly. You're practically indestructible by our standards. Dr. Rachel Turner, who had joined the meeting, leaned forward. Are you saying we're essentially space orcs? The aliens consulted their translation database. If by orcs you mean incredibly tough and resilient beings, then yes. Your bodies can withstand pressure changes that would explode most species. You can survive radiation doses that would kill any other known intelligent life. You can repair damaged tissue at rates we thought impossible. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had always imagined they would be the fragile newcomers to galactic society. Instead, they were the superheroes, or the monsters, depending on perspective. Your digestive system alone is terrifying, the alien medical officer added. You can consume substances that would be considered deadly toxins on other worlds. Your ability to process alcohol, for instance, marks you as apex predators in our biological classification system. Helen looked at his coffee cup with new appreciation. So when we eventually start visiting other worlds, you'll need to be incredibly careful, the first speaker finished. What you consider a gentle touch could easily break bones. Your normal walking speed might seem like aggressive charging to others. Even your breath could be dangerous to some species. The meeting continued for hours as the aliens explained more about galactic society. They learned that most species needed significant technological assistance to survive space travel, while humans were naturally resistant to many of its hazards. Your adaptation to varying pressure levels, your radiation resistance, your robust bone structure. These are traits that most species had to engineer over thousands of years. You were born with them. Rachel couldn't help but smile. So all this time, aliens weren't avoiding Earth because we were primitive or dangerous by choice. They were afraid because we're basically superhuman by their standards. Precisely, the first speaker confirmed. Imagine meeting a species that could casually walk through fire or acid. That's how most civilizations see you. As the meeting concluded, the human scientists had a new understanding of their place in the universe. They weren't just another species joining the galactic community. They were something unprecedented. Evolution on Earth had created beings that defied the normal rules of life as the galaxy knew it. Well, Helen said as they left the meeting, I guess this explains why they call us the Dark World. We're not evil, we're just built different. The revelation would change humanity's approach to everything. From space exploration to first contact protocols. They weren't the weak newcomers they'd imagined. They were the unintentionally intimidating powerhouses of the galaxy. 5 years after the first contact in that Montana cornfield, humanity's position in the galactic community had changed dramatically. The United Earth Space Force headquarters in Geneva buzzed with activity as Captain David Miller prepared for humanity's first official diplomatic mission to the Galactic Council. Remember, Admiral Anderson briefed the crew, we're not going there to intimidate anyone. We're going to show them that the monsters they feared are actually peaceful explorers. The new ship, Earth's Pride, represented humanity's unique advantages. While other species needed extensive shielding from radiation and pressure changes, human crews could work in conditions that would kill most aliens. This allowed for simpler, more efficient ship designs. Engineering reports all systems ready. Lieutenant Emma Wright reported from her station. Our alien guests are secure in their protected quarters. The ship carried representatives from 3 different alien species, each housed in specially designed environments. The fact that humans could casually walk between these different atmospheric conditions still amazed their visitors. "It's remarkable," commented one alien diplomat through their translator. "Your crew treats these hazardous conditions like they're nothing special, walking through radiation zones, handling pressure changes. You do it without even thinking." David smiled. "That's the message we want to share with the Council. What makes us different doesn't make us dangerous. It makes us uniquely qualified to help." Over the past years, humanity have found ways to use their natural advantages to benefit galactic society. Human rescue teams could operate in conditions too dangerous for other species. Earth's unusual environment proved perfect for testing new technologies. Even human medical research was revolutionizing galactic science, as their resilient biology offered new insights into healing and adaptation. "Approaching Council space," Emma announced. "Look at all those ships keeping their distance." The sight of alien vessels carefully maintaining their distance from Earth's pride would have once been discouraging. Now it just reminded them of how far they'd come, and how far they still had to go in earning the galaxy's trust. "Send the greeting message," David ordered. "Let them know their dark world cousins come in peace." The response was immediate. The Galactic Council had prepared a special docking area that could handle Earth's extreme conditions. As they approached, David reflected on how humanity's perspective had changed. "You know what's funny?" he said to Emma. "We always thought we'd need to catch up to alien technology. Turns out, we just needed to understand our own strength." The diplomatic mission marked a new chapter in human history. They weren't just joining the galactic community. They were changing it. Their unique abilities and perspective offered solutions to problems other species couldn't handle. "Council is ready to receive us," the communications officer announced. David stood, straightening his uniform. "Remember, everyone, we're not here as conquerors or monsters. We're here as helpers, protectors, and friends. Let's show them what humanity really is." As the crew prepared to disembark, screens showed the massive council chamber ahead. Thousands of alien representatives waited to officially welcome the species they had feared for so long. The dark world was finally stepping into the light. "It's remarkable," one of their alien guests observed. "My people spent generations afraid of yours. Now we're learning that what we feared most about you, your strength, your resilience, your ability to thrive in extreme conditions. These are exactly the qualities the galaxy needs." David nodded. "Sometimes the scariest things in the dark turn out to be friends you haven't met yet." As Earth's pride docked with the Council station, humanity prepared to take its place among the stars. They weren't the monsters of alien legends, nor were they typical galactic citizens. They were something unique, a species forged in the extreme conditions of Earth, now ready to use their extraordinary capabilities to help build a better galaxy for all. The dark world had stepped into the light, and the galaxy would never be the same.